Hello everyone, we should be live, and I forgot to get rid of this stuff from last night's stream. Hope you're all doing well as always. I've been kind of running around like a chicken with my head cut off, trying to prepare for this stream, because I definitely don't stream at this normal time. But, you know, special announcements call for special streams. So, welcome on into the chat. Hope you guys are doing well. This is a little bit of a surprise, but I guess not really, because we're only like 1 month out before the DLC launches, so it makes sense that they would want to start ramping up their marketing campaign, but I almost feel like at this point they don't even need to worry because the fans are doing all the work themselves. So I'm Mad Mercy, Average Funky Gamer, Levovit, Killer King, Tanner, nice to have all of you again. I'm doing pretty well myself, a little bit tired after going late last night with Moxie on stream. Ash King, Errant Vice, welcome on in. So are we all prepared to get our headcanons either wholly confirmed, wholly shot out the head into the waters of the deep lore to never be seen again with the iceberg? I think I am. I don't know. A little bit apprehensive, but that's kind of like part of the fun. Yeah, I missed out on analyzing the first trailer of Shadow of the Erdtree because I was busy working on other things, but to try to make up for that, I called an audible, and it's like, let's do it live today. So, Floor of the Moon, Slade, Crimson, nice to see all of you again. Aaron's half paying attention to your DLC build is still in Stormvale. I mean, you've explored everywhere else first, right? Right? That's what it is? Alright, so, in case anybody hasn't heard, apparently, like, a couple hours ago, we just got a little bit of a drop announcement that there's going to be a new trailer for Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. This one is legitimately called the story trailer, which I don't remember if they did anything like that for Bloodborne or whatnot. So I'm gonna like Bloodborne trailers. Actually, I should just type in Old Hunter. Oh no, it's just the Old Hunters. So yeah, this is pretty much all you got for Bloodborne expansion DLC trailer. Announcement? Ashes of... I should probably narrate that. Ashes of Ariandel announcement trailer. Launch trailer. DLC gameplay trailer. So yeah, so I think this is like the first story trailer for a DLC that FromSoft has done, but we still have like the Ring City to look at. Launch trailer, announcement trailer. So it definitely seems like the story stuff might be on their mind. I know we had a story trailer for the base game of Elden Rings, but this is wild times we be living in. Hey Hilko, how's it going? Tim has a feeling you'll have to rewrite your next video after this trailer. Well, that's the trick. If you never write a video, you never have to rewrite it. Yeah. So I've been kind of like standing by. I've had some like ideas percolating, but I'm just like, man, I don't want to like go through all this work for it to just get like flushed down the toilet immediately. So while we kind of wait in our little purgatory here, I figured it might be a good time now to either begin like the process of affirming or deconfirming some headcanons here. So, all right, 1 second. Here is the a spreadsheet that I've got, and so I'm trying to think of like some possibilities of what'll happen of like we get more information regarding Messmer and or his parents and stuff. I'm a little skeptical like how much the story trailer will reveal, but oh well, we could always like look at this in the future and laugh or whatnot. So, all right, bingo time. Oh, that would be a good idea to like have like a Shadow of the Erdtree bingo. Killer King says we're gonna hear Miquella's voice. You bet. I feel like that's probably gonna be a free space maybe. Aaron says Miquella and Gwendolyn have the same voice actor. $100 down. All right, so pretty much for the Messmer stuff, I think we can like break his involvement down into one of like 3 categories here. So like let's say Godfrey and Marika and creation of the Erdtree in this little column here. Maybe I should, it's whatever. Oh, I should probably make it bigger for you guys too. 18 minutes. Ooh-wee. So, another possibility would be when, I guess we don't know when the first Erdtree burned, but something like, maybe like the war against the dragons, perhaps, would be a good point. So, I guess I didn't like highlight what I meant by the Messmer question. Messmer and Shadowlands disconnection. Timing. All right. Possible. And then Rad's becoming Elden Lord. And while I think this would be like the least likely, I guess we don't technically know if it could have been a shattering style event which caused this situation to happen, of when the Shadowlands was disconnected from the main body of land in the base game. So I think once we have answers to some of this stuff, we could start filling in a lot of blanks, and this would also help recontextualize our current thoughts about Messmer and like what that means. So, hey Jack Irish, nice to see you again. And Bella and Jan, welcome on in. Why didn't your phone tell you sooner? I mean, I'm pretty much calling it audible, so there's probably not a lot of time for YouTube to send out the notifications. Yeah, I checked my notifications on my phone, and someone is like, oh yeah, I was just watching this, and then a story trailer dropped. I was like, what the hell? And so like I rushed to confirm, and then like I looked at the Discord, and Iman had like posted something as well. So I was like, oh my god. Of course, right when I least expect it, which, I mean, like I said, we're pretty much literally 1 month away, so I don't know why I didn't expect it. I know why. It's because I try to keep my expectations extremely low to begin with, but yeah. And then Jan asks, what if people kept getting banished to the Shadowlands even after it was disconnected? That's a very good question. I think there's a strong possibility of that, especially if we have other Tarnished there. And we don't know if those other Tarnished like visited Miquella or anything, so hopefully the trailer can give us a little bit of an insight about that. But I think the trailer said it was like 3 or 4 minutes on like the thumbnail thing. So yeah, all of our questions are going to be answered is my fake point here. You think someone like Rykard would have ended up there is the thing? Well, he's a demigod, but I don't think they really care too much about like goodness and badness of character traits. Just got to be strong. Because Rykard stuff is in many ways aligned with like the Crucible stuff and like the whole Godfrey thing of, what's the word? Just being strong and having a crown warranted by strength. I think Rykard's philosophy is probably the most in tune with the kind of original vision thing, I guess. So is Messmer. Fair enough. All right. So going back to the like little speculative tree that we've got going on. So if the Shadowlands was disconnected, and let's say Messmer is a child of Marika and Godfrey, we need to ask like before Godwin, after, and then before Omen twins after, and then how does like the alleged Crucible connection work in to the twin omens? That might be worth reevaluating. And then like if Messmer is kind of like related to the Crucible, why doesn't he look more even more like a chimera, more like the misbegotten, as opposed to like a mostly human looking like thing with some weird snake stuff going on? That's kind of like one of the bigger questions I think would arise in relation to this. Of course, I still think that's a really big question in general. Like, why does Godfrey look like a dude if he's from the time of the Crucible? Why does Marika look the way she does? I think Marika could get a pass for being like a Numen space alien, but Godfrey, is he a Numen space alien, or is he native to the Lands Between? I don't know if the DLC will really like touch on that aspect of the lore. I hope it does a little bit, but yeah. We'll have to wait for the trailer. Hey, Tony, nice to see you again. Both trailers drop when you're at work, for real. Oh, yeah, and then, like, we have, like, Melina questions coming up with all this stuff. So, I don't know when exactly the War Against the Dragons was, but we could just say, like, since I have it, at least for the purposes of this, like, illustration being before Radagon becoming Elden Lord, we could say, like, Godfrey's reign. So, like, if the Shadowlands got disconnected with Godfrey's reign, how does that all tie into the question of the Tarnished? Because he seems to know of the Tarnished, which kind of indicates that there's probably, like, been some continued stuff going on, but we don't know if the Tarnished came after the lands had already been banished, and whether or not the Shadowlands are kind of like the equivalent of an even worse Everjail, I guess. Maybe the Everjails themselves are just like solitary, and this is for Gen Pop. Hey, Jay Dixon, how's it going? Algius says something about D, as the Omen revealed a few days ago, has basically identical mask. Oh, to like the twin set? I don't know how I feel about that. I know there was somebody else who like thought the mask looked similar to something. I'm drawing a blank. Oh yeah. Is the minor Erdtree Guardians might also have similar masks. I personally don't have too strong feelings about the Omen mask. I'll just take it as its own thing for now. I think it might be a little bit too soon to like tie it to any one specific thing. Yes, Bella, we're going to be looking at the trailer live in 12 minutes, and I'm just kind of like stalling for time until then, trying to get our gears turning. Killer doesn't like the Godwin equals the cool Omen theory. But everybody's everybody, didn't you know? So, if the Shadowlands got disconnected, I guess like between like Radagon becoming Elden Lord, or even like in Godfrey's time, we still have like the big question of destined death. Messmer. And following along with that, we have Giant's Flame connections, the Glomide Queen, all manner of flame stuff with the Flame of Messmer is going to be something we probably need to re-examine, I'm assuming, if it does somehow relate to them. And then if Messmer is related to Radagon and whatnot, we need to discover, is Messmer a child of Radagon? Is he Carian, like Mike and Melly, aka Miquella and Melina? But I didn't want to like run out of space. If so, what does that mean? It would mean that the Shadowlands were probably disconnected somewhere around this time. And then I don't necessarily think it would have happened during the Shattering, but I guess it's worth entertaining because we technically don't know if it's still part of the lands then. Then we've got all the stuff with the Erdtree to consider. The Erdtree's birth is just pretty good evidence for like the creation of the Erdtree timeline, but we don't know if and or when and or how the Erdtree could have been burned before to explain all of the ash in Leyndell. So it could have, I mean, the Erdtree would have had to have existed somewhat for it to be burned. But then the question becomes like, how long did it exist? Did the Erdtree grow to be super, super gigantic overnight or like instantaneously? Or that manner of thing. Levo says, if the Land of Shadow is the spirit world, it was disconnected at the same time the Golden Order was founded. That's a very common thought. We can't guarantee that for sure, but I think, yeah, mentioning spirit world possibilities is a pretty big question mark. And same with the Dreamlands, I suppose. So if Messmer is a child of Radagon, then we can kind of like discount this stuff. Well, at least this stuff mostly, and then try to focus on the relationship of the Carian family, the missing Carian princesses, which might also help contextualize like why we didn't hear about Messmer, because we didn't hear about the other Carian princesses. Are we going to see these missing Carian princesses? Could that be like the figure of the person we see in the kind of Raylu Carian-esque study hall looking like place, who many think could be like the Glomide Queen? So yeah. 9 minutes, 8 minutes, yep. And 30 days away. 1-star rating, welcome back to stream. And then Tanner asks, what are the chances Messmer is the son of a third baby daddy? They are definitely not zero. For what it's worth, Muriel does call Radagon the second husband of Marika, but there's no item descriptions which say it, but I do think there's something which calls Godfrey like first husband. Maybe I could just type in husband and we'll like get some stuff. Husbando. Alright, so not super concerned about the Renala stuff for right this second. As the husband of Renala of Caria and as the husband of Queen Marika. Okay, that's not. Okay, so Muriel says Renala is merely the recipient of an amber egg given to her by Radagon. Her beloved Radagon left her to become Queen Marika's second husband, taking the title of King Consort. So I'm already past all of the item descriptions which mention husband explicitly. There might be another way to phrase it. If so, I don't remember what it would have been. So, But for what it's worth, oh yeah, I guess we should ask like the demigod question. I don't know where to put this. I'm just going to like put it here. Because I think part of the reason why I'm more comfortable like placing Godfrey earlier is we have first demigod. So according to Galdrick's Great Rune, the first demigods were the Elden Lord Godfrey and his offspring, the Golden Lineage. And for anybody like wondering, it's pretty much exactly the same in Japanese, except it's like there's like a little bit of emphasis placed on it. So like, yeah, definitely the first demigod. And for what it's worth, it is very clear that it's like Godfrey and his descendants were the first demigods, and not just like Godfrey's descendants were the first demigods. Ash King thinks the Glomide Queen must be Carian or Nox/Newman from the Eternal Cities. I think that's a very strong possibility, especially with my video on the Glomide Queen. I was like, hey, there's a chance that the Gek could be like the former queen of the Nox, but there's just so little information about the Nox that it kind of feels like we're always grasping at straws. Hey, Doggo, surprise stream, surprise trailer launch. Yeah. And Mr. Yada, nice to see you again. Well, we're getting close. I'm running out of time to waffle on this. So, if Messmer is like a legitimate child of Radagon and was a child after the Godfrey stuff, that's fine. It helps us make a pretty big break in the timeline between these two ages of Godfrey and Radagon, perhaps, if that's when like the split in the Shadowlands got sent. And that might also coincide with like the tarnishing of the Tarnished and their banishment from the Lands Between. And of course, a big question is, does being banished from the Lands Between necessitate being sent to the Shadowlands? Is that where the Tarnished are sent once they get sent out? Maybe. We don't know. Killer asks, will we get more Newman lore and their origin world? I think there's a very, very strong possibility, because this place is supposed to be where Marika first alighted, as they say, and this is where she became a god. So even though that kind of makes it sound as though this wouldn't be like the homeland of the Newman, we'll learn more about her origins probably as a Newman if we're tracing her steps. Tanner asks, is it pretty much Radagon's kids have red hair and Godfrey's have gold hair, aside from Miquella, I think? So yeah, that's what I was going to bring up in response to that. Many people assume because Messmer has the red hair, he should be a child of Radagon. And we could also ask ourselves the same kind of question about Melina, whether that would make her Radagon's child or Marika's child. But as you pointed out, Miquella has blonde hair, so it isn't quite so foolproof there. And we're also dealing with like crazy demigods and magic, and we also see Melina's hair change color in the end of the Frenzied Flame ending. So I'm not sure, to be honest. Eric wonders if there'll be a mimic in the DLC. I hope we get more about mimics and silver tears. I know like Cosmos and many others are really big fans of the Radagon as a mimic theory, and that can tie into the whole like Nox stuff very neatly. So it would not surprise me if we did get a lot more content about that. For real though. And then Jan also brings up a great point that I haven't brought up yet, that Messmer could have come to the Shadowlands long after its creation. Yeah, so it isn't necessarily fair to assume that Messmer and the Shadowlands are inextricably linked. It's just that the way that we see them for now, they're linked, but they weren't necessarily created or banished together at the same time. And Messmer could have just been like the warden of the Shadowlands, put in place by Marika or Radagon or something else. We're getting close, chat. I should probably hydrate before we start. Melina is Godefroy. Hey, Meow Laser, nice to see you again. Bringing in the deep cuts. All right, let me swig some water before I poggers about the trailer. Jan asks, weird question, but was there a transition period between Godfrey and Radagon when there was no Elden Lord, or did Radagon ascend immediately after Godfrey's banishment? I feel like arguments could probably be made for both cases, but there's not enough info to say. But very good, very good question. One that I wondered myself. All right, so I'm going to get rid of me spreadsheets and just kind of stand by for it to go live. I can't make it go full screen yet, but you know, we waiting. Oh yeah, and I guess if this is going to be like a legitimate premiere, then we'll probably have like a minute or two before like the YouTube starts it, or maybe even 5 since it starts at 9:55 a.m. I think that's a little bit early. So, or 10:55 Eastern and whatnot. So I think this is like a little bit of an off time, so it's probably meant to drop right on the top of the hour there. Alrighty. We have 7 minutes, maybe. It's on for Scholar? For Iman? Alright, I'm refreshing. I'm refreshing! No, his time zone's in the future. The F5 mashing, for real. Ah, let me in! Let me in! Jack Dubois, welcome back to stream. How you doing, man? Jack says, in the intro of the game, it seems to put the Knight of the Black Knives after the ring was shattered. Oh, no, that's definitely not true. I mean, Godwin has to die for the ring to be shattered. It's just like a retelling of like different events. It's not meant to be like super chronological there. Maybe I should have like set my computer time ahead. Would that have been like the magic trick? All right, now it just flipped over. Please. Okay. Okay, there we go. Oh, you made it sound like it was actually going off, Iman. Yeah, so like I said, there's probably going to be this waiting screen, which doesn't surprise me. I can't see my mouse anymore. Okay, there it is. I was worried. Yeah, and as Crimson notes, you can do like a little bit of a YouTube hack to go double speed while it's in this like premiering state to kind of get caught up with the most live stuff eventually. And then once you get caught up to live, it'll go back to normal. Hey, what's new, boys? You tell me. New trailer. How's it going? Alright, how's the volume for you guys? It's a little bit loud for me. I can turn it down, but you guys probably want it to be slightly overwhelming, I assume. Bruno, Taylor, welcome on in. So, some people are asking about the numbers. I can't always tell if like people are, you know, just being cheeky or if they would have like legitimate questions. So I try to treat a lot of things as legitimate questions, even if I think people are joking. But this is just like a standard YouTube thing that's not related to the actual trailer. Too loud? Okay, I'll turn it down. There to give us a seizure. So probably about 4 minutes left. Or not? Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, no, they're just faking us out. That's kind of messed up. This countdown's pretty trippy, all things considered. I haven't really looked at a lot of them. I kind of always chose like the calm one. So okay, maybe it's 3 minutes and then no, because it wouldn't be 5 seconds every like 5 seconds. I don't know what to think. Alright, so it seems like the chat is in agreement that this countdown is horrible. This is like the last teaser that Miyazaki's giving us before he just mind melts us. Oh my god. Grabs the attention at least. It makes me want to look away right now. Oh yeah, I should full screen, huh? Get the full effect going on. Alright, let's get back to the future. 88 miles per hour. Yeah, I don't quite understand the YouTube countdowns myself. I think for certain premieres, it's done so that way it can get more audience members before the thing goes live. But I don't really know how effective that is. Oh, I guess like because this part wouldn't be included on the actual video itself, it's a way to like build hype and like boost the viewership of this stuff. If you have like a large enough audience, and that way like people who watch it after the fact don't have to wait so long. Because like the way that I do it on my streams, I typically have like a 2-minute delay, so that way people can trickle in and whatnot. But I know that can be a little bit annoying if you're catching the VOD after the fact. Alright, we're probably at the last minute, y'all. Yeah, how many people are watching this now? 100,001. Alright, here we go. Thanks, Leva, I appreciate that. Here we go, chat.
Peggy 16.
This is super artifacted. This is why I hate premieres. We'll watch it again after the fact.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal.
Is that Melina? That looks like a little bit of gold on her feet.
From which gold arose.
Or is that's probably Miquella then? Okay.
And so too was Shadow born.
I take it back. Probably Marika for the Erdtree. Oh god. Oh god, guys.
What followed was a war unseen. one that could never be put to song. A purge without grace or honor.
This is probably after the fact, like way later with Messmer.
The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
We had multiple Wicker Men. Lion Dance, bro? Is that a real one? I was trying to look at his eye. It looked the same at the end. Maybe less gold. Are those dragon heads? I'm sorry, like, this quality is terrible. The dripping sap kind of looks like the rune arc and like
and so
Marika.
Kindly Miquella would abandon everything.
So I wonder if that's a side of grace. Yes! I thought this could be a possibility. That you would follow Miquella with these.
His golden flesh. His blinding strength. Even his fate.
Damn, maybe the Ember Starlight really was his fate.
Are not deterred. We choose to follow. Will you walk with us?
So we had like the sleeping mask person there. Oh, is this it? Oh no, please let there be more. Oh no. Yazaki, please. All right. Okay. No post-credit scene. So, all right. That seems to be it. Okay. We will definitely refresh the page and like put it at the full quality. So this, oh, it's probably I had it like autoed. So this is like the worst part about premieres, in that even if you've already uploaded your thing at super high quality, it will bandwidth as though it's like a full live stream and doesn't like pre-render stuff to like give you the highest quality available. So after the premiere goes live, if you refresh, the quality should be good. And this could have just been my fault from like the last stream or something like that. How do you guys feel, chat? Blue balled yet again. I mean, we got a lot to look at still. Hopefully it'll be a bit clearer now. Yeah.
Peggy 16.
I'm gonna turn on the captions. Do we have Japanese? We do. Okay. I might look at the Japanese trailer if it's live.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning.
So I'm assuming kind here is just like Sama, but they're just stylizing it to kind of impress upon like the lordship aspect, I guess. So I noticed that this looked like a coiling snake almost, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a snake. So I wonder if this is Miquella and could correspond to his ring, or if this is still supposed to be Marika. And maybe this is the Glomide Queen? Marika could have killed her. And this kind of looks like Godskin almost. And we've got like a bunch of like blood coming out, like a womb maybe. And like, to be fair, the Elden Ring almost looks to be in like, you know, the womb or abdomen of Marika. It doesn't exactly anatomically match up. I definitely know that. Definitely womb.
The seduction and the betrayal.
So yeah, that almost looks like rune stuff coming out. Seduction, betrayal. Because like in the very first 2019 trailer, like the Marika's hammer looks like this after hitting the Elden Ring. So this is probably like rune stuff going on. So this might be like the rune of death being plucked, perhaps. I'm really skeptical about that, but you know, just spitballing.
And the betrayal.
All right. Okay, so yeah, it was just like the lighting on it and the poor quality before. I was like wondering if this could have been like, you all know how Melina has the unalloyed gold like kind of like woven into her limbs at points. I was like, oh, maybe this is like the beginnings of that stuff. No, I don't necessarily think that. The hair doesn't look red either. So this could be Miquella or potentially Marika. But with the rest of the trailer talking about Miquella,
Gold arose.
an affair from which gold arose. So I'll probably like back this up and pay more attention to like the captions and whatnot. Okay, I would definitely think this is Marika because of that arm bracelet. We don't really get too good a look at her things. And this does resemble the rune arc thing or her Elden rune, as it's called on her sword and scar seal. Lots of bodies, very, very Rykard-esque. And this kind of looks like the beginnings of the Erdtree, like the beginning, you know, like when you go up to ascend to the throne, like past there. But it looks a hell of a lot smaller. So if you guys want to say this is the Great Tree, that might be a possibility. Is this the Crucible? We'll have to find out. And then the sky also kind of looks purplish back then, so it could be Gloomy. It really could be the transition between Marika from the Gloam-Eyed Queen. So, hoo-wee. And oh yeah, so this kind of, even if this is supposed to be a tree, I think it's really fascinating that it seems to be comprised of literal corpses, kind of like the way that you'd see in any of the catacombs. So if this is the Great Tree, maybe they truly are Great Tree roots in the catacombs. I'm definitely willing to reconsider all that and work with that. And Bella says maybe it's a gateway. That's a good possibility too. This might be the transition because the skies back here are gold, whereas this stuff is a gloomy purple. Yeah. Is that the Berserk Helix tree? I mean, kinda, maybe, question mark. Doggo thinks that'd be the Crucible version of the Great Tree. Yeah. Let's go back.
And so too was Shadow born.
So Shadow was born, and if Shadow is a reference to like what Ania says, the Shadow plucked from the the Elden Ring upon the creation of the Golden Order, then if Shadow is being birthed here, that might make us rethink some things too. Man, okay, there's actually a lot more going on here. I'm excited. Oh, this is so fucking metal. Oops. Don't mean to drop F-bombs on stream.
What followed was a war unseen.
So we got that unseen war. All right. We definitely have two Wickermen. I'm trying to like look at the architecture. So this stuff is kind of similar to what you'd get in multiple areas. It's just like generic like Gothic style steeples. So I could see this being akin to Ray Lucaria or even like Lanedell. So doesn't seem like super Nox yet. Or Eternal Cities vibes. So, okay, we got a bunch of dudes with spears. So it looks like we got a generic knight and the generic like foot soldiers. So these might have just been a unified Marika forces. Oh wait, no, we see them like all marching under Messmer later. So I think that we had a probably significant time jump from this scene here to this one here. Yeah, and it's honestly kind of really awkward reacting to stuff like literally alive because I can't pause. I'm like, oh man, do I like want to talk or do I want to listen myself? So I was like super conflicted. All right, so I'm trying to like get a good look at this. It's kind of hard to see because of the contrast more than like the size and the quality. So let's pull up a MS Paint style enhance. All right. Come on, there we go. Enhance. Oh, this is gonna be rough. So it looks like there's a circular thing at the bottom. This looks like the frickin', oh my god. Okay. I don't want to spoil it yet. I just want to show you guys the picture and see if you guys see it too. I might be wrong about this. This is part of the fun of all doing it live. Oh man, I'm like having issues. Give me a second to actually find this, because if it is what I think it is, this is going to be it'll be worth the hype. And if I'm wrong, it's still kind of worth the hype because it's funny. Oh no. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, I found it. Is that this? Obviously, I don't think it's like super great, but the way that this stuff goes upwards and seems to be like branching off in a wavy fashion made me think of this. So, like a rune arc here, and then maybe this is like the canopy. So we got like the upside down tree thing going off. Maybe like Crunchy was on the money with some of his estimation. Ooh-wee. It's all connected, man. Yeah. Is that a freaking hunter's rune? So, what do you guys feel, chat? Am I lost in the Rorschach sauce, or can you kind of see it too? Looks like Death Ritual Spear. Erdtree's Favor? Alright, we could pull up Erdtree's Favor. You never realized the implication at the Erdtree symbols? Oh yeah, this has been like a real big red herring so far. It's like trying to like figure everything out. This has bothered me for a while. Looks like the thing is at the impaling gates. Okay, that'll be a good thing to look at too, yeah. Could be Messmer's spear if they are his soldiers. True, but this doesn't necessarily match what we see as Messmer's sigil in other places, which is why it's like extra weird to me. Accessories for deathbirds? Alright, was I gonna look up Erdtree's Favor? Oh, like Marika? Yeah. And then where's my paint thing? Oh, because like this stuff at the bottom. And so this does look like the top branches of the Erdtree. Well, technically, if you compare it to like the Halig tree stylization, this looks like it's supposed to be the top of the Halig tree. Not literally here for this, but I'm just saying like the kind of like not looking like things. Like the bud looking like things are kind of suspect in relation to all this stuff. You think it looks like the ghost trees that we see in the lands between in the mountaintops? It looks like Rykard's original symbol too. Oh, I don't think I have a really good resource for that, Pedro. But yeah, maybe. I would need to double check. Thanks for bringing that up. All right. Going back. So, yeah, I think this is like a more present times. So, just looking at some of this design. Maybe we'll get like a better like close-up maybe as we continue. Not exactly. So I'm looking at the armor. Put to song. Wait a second. This looks like Gerank's Beast Clergyman cloak. Or maybe something else. My first impression was like a Morgott type thing. But I don't know if I have a good picture of Gerank's on his back. I don't remember there actually being anything like this. So my first impression was Omen. The small ones with lights on them, you only see them at night? Oh, you mean the candle trees. Okay, yeah. That's totally fair. Yeah. It can look like a candle tree. Fair enough. I kind of forget about them, to be honest, even though they're like super important to me. So yeah, I was going to look at this. This kind of reminds me of Moog, or also Gerank. Let me look in my footage folder. I don't think I'm going to get a back view of this. Okay, I don't think it matches up. Oh, I skipped it in this one. Okay. Anyway, and then it kind of also looks like the Moog stuff. From the back, I would need to like really cycle through a lot of the back armors because there's the way that this is frayed kind of reminds me of like Godwin stuff, but I don't see like the herb of many aspects on here, so it doesn't seem to fit. If anybody in chat has like a really good guess, go ahead and let me know. Oh, you think this could be a horn maybe? All right, let me look at Morgott. Maybe it's one of the lion dances. Oh, yeah, that could be a good guess, too. Shadow of... Wait, where is it? Okay, yeah. That's why I was thinking. Omen stuff. So it does look kind of different. I don't know if we get a super good back view. But at the very least, it seems too small to be for like the full-on lion dude. Okay. We could leave this alone for now and like do some actual comparisons on our off time. So they're working in legions. This is... No, it's not Leyndell. Is it? No. Okay. It's definitely reminiscent of Leyndell as far as the architecture goes. Like these domed buildings here and some of the flat ones and like the ramparts are very similar. So, okay, we've got like the Noxian vine looking like thing, which also appears on, I guess I'll do my CSI zoom stuff for you guys. Why did I close my paint thing? Because I didn't need it at the moment. So we've got our like Noxian leaf looking like thing. I don't know if I have a good picture of the chairs. Hold on. I'm sure I have something. But you could also see this in like Ordina Elfile. Will this show it? So it's kind of like this, but that's not the exact one. This shows up in a lot of places. I don't exactly think this is like super significant. I'm just like noticing this because this pattern has been with like Nox stuff. Is this the backside? Okay, so not this one, but it does show up elsewhere. I know. Anyway. Yeah, man, you're gonna like need to retype that because I don't understand what you're saying, bro. Hey, Morlor, welcome back to stream, and everybody else who's joined in. Nice to have you all. Yeah, as Mr. CC Desmond says, Leyndell does have a lot of Noxian architecture around. It could be ancient Leyndell, and so there could be like an Eternal City connection, even in like the Shadowlands, which wouldn't be like too crazy. It's either the Kremlin Castle at the city at the foot of the Shadow Tree. Oh, at the foot of the Shadow Tree? Trailer. Tree lot. Okay, tree lay. Under the tree. Okay. I mean, I'm definitely going to watch it again and look at it again. Well, we figured out so far that we are in over our heads, Ethan. Welcome to the stream. From Soft. I like the name. Welcome in. All right. The city is from the previous trailer, the one with the bridge right below the Shadow Tree. That's what I was thinking. Since like my first knee-jerk reaction was like, oh my god, it's the ramparts of Leyndell. But yeah, I do think that would be the most likely case. We're gonna probably get a couple more vantage points, I think, to look at and see it. So the tree might be like back this direction somewhere, but we don't see the big tower just yet, which is fine. So we got two wicker men inside the city itself. Okay, so we got like the big wall reliefs over here. And do I want to like look at Messmer here? Is there anything going on with him? Wait! Hold on, I'm gonna back it up. This almost looks like blood thorns, but there's fire with it. Guys, my guys. Like when it's in motion, it's less obvious, but this definitely looks bloody. It kind of looks thorny in a way that's reminiscent of the Briar spells, but different. So they might not be a one-to-one connection, but they do be looking a certain kind of way. It seems to be this. Oh, that's a good point. There's a sea beyond the gates. Whoa. I didn't even get there. He really likes sin. So this is a different figure entirely. Tyranny of Messmer's flame. So tyranny, so he's trying to usurp things.
Tyranny of Messmer's flame.
Are they holding a spear? And is this like a remembrance type weapon? Like not like literally, but just like, is this a flag? Is this a butterfly? Oh man, I'm so excited seeing this thing up here again. Okay, so it's definitely got the hands. Oh god, dude, this looks so cool. Ooh. The eyes look slightly different, but not, it's probably just like a lighting angle thing. Trying to go like one frame at a time here. Oh, dude, such Ludwig vibes. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, let me back that up. Okay, we're not going to get like a super clear image of that. Damn motion blur. This is Messmer. So Messmer's fighting a lion dude. Because we got our soft serve helmet on of the snakes. Guys. Ooh, we got that interfactional conflict still going on potentially. I was hoping we'd get something like that. So if Messmer is against these dudes, and these things might be like more Omen allied, and they're like supposed to be of a pre-Erdtree civilization, it seems like Messmer's tyranny is going against the established order that these things may have had going on, which, you know, kind of makes sense even based off the little information of the previous trailer. No flag. It's quite static compared to the cloth figure. Right. What I meant, I wondered if it was like a standard, but not like the flag explicitly. But thanks for like correcting me. I appreciate that. I say Ludwig. You say Demon Horse from Burke. Indeed. Fair enough. Old Crucible Seat of the Sun. Alright, let me back it up just slightly. Yeah, I just could not tell what was going on when watching it the first time around. I'm like, yep, these are pixels, all right. There's all two of them. So we got... Does he have jewelry on? What is in his hand? Oh, that's just his flame? So yeah, when I first saw this pipe, I'm like, oh man, is his eye more silvery looking? And then I couldn't exactly tell. We couldn't see his retinas yet. But then as it goes, it does seem to be still like golden and more draconic in nature. And so I guess like one question to bring up is, if Messmer is draconic, did he do Dragon Communion? And if so, that going back to our silly little spreadsheet from earlier, wrong thing. Oh, right thing. I just put it on this. If we go back to our silly little spreadsheet from earlier, with the war against the dragons, if Messmer did the Dragon Communion thing, it seems to me most likely would have happened around or after this time, because Dragon Communion takes off after that, which isn't to say that it couldn't have existed in some form beforehand, and could be related to Godwin and whatnot. So he's also got like almost varicose vein things going on here across his face. We can't get a good look at his other eye. Or is it coming out kind of like Filianor into his helmet? I don't know. Ethan asks, was it you or is Miquella wearing a snake bracelet at the beginning? I think that's actually Marika, bro. But that's... yeah. So we got, okay, the impaling of things on Messmer's spears. So this one seems to be like Messmer's legitimate spear, not one of the shadow clone jutsu styles that we saw in the first trailer. Is this like a lion dancer head? Looks like it. Are these omen horns? Kinda. Maybe. What's the stuff in the bottom? Okay, so they're all tall and impaled. We've got a vantage shot of the city. Okay, so these ones are just normal, like, stakes. They aren't necessarily Messmer spears. Although this looks like we do have the metal of Messmer's spear. So maybe there's a mix. Maybe these ones were personally done to send a message, and these are just like the little ruffians, the Zako and whatnot. Impaled omens, they're all covered in horns. Okay, back up to the city. Okay, we don't have the arc thing, or at least the sap's not dripping in this vantage. Okay, so where is the big arc thing? Is it this? Is it just like a forced perspective? Is it off to the side? So we also get more of the veil coming through. The one tree is coiling around the Erdtree looking like thing. And so yeah, this shot made me like reconsider, is this supposed to be like legitimately Marika to some degree? Because it does kind of look like the crucifixion imagery that we've got going on. And I'm going to pull up the icon again. Okay, so yeah, I do think this might be reminiscent of what we're seeing now. Sorry, monitor differences here. Let me do this and that. And if I rotate it, it'd probably be good, but this is a, you know, a full-on rotation. So yeah, I think if this gets turned a bit, and I guess, hold on, we've got another image worth sharing. Like, this looks kind of suspect, like the shape of it. Like, it doesn't seem to be going straight down. Oh, maybe it's because it's the branches like curved and arced. So that might be done intentionally to evoke this imagery, but not necessarily be the same thing. Leva says maybe the rune arc thing wasn't built yet. That's a fair question. Yeah. As Yushin also says, tea-watered houseplant, nice to see again. It does look like Marika's symbol, sweet. Is there a veil yet? I think so. Okay, I was afraid it was gonna start it. At the very least, like, this light seems reminiscent of it, but it could also just be like shadow tree light. But it seems like it's still there. You think I'm reaching a bit on that? I appreciate that. No, it's fine. Does it look like pieces of the town being torn off and pulled up into the tree? I don't necessarily know if it's being pulled up into the tree, but it seems to be like in a half state of crumbling. And we've seen this elsewhere in the trailers, and that's something that I've pointed out on like the first one and pictures of the shadow tree, that it looks like there's debris of some sort. So I don't know if we're getting like a Final Fantasy X Sin in Xanarkand kind of thing, where it's like getting pulled into it before like a gigantic explosion. But yes, there's definitely some extra stuff going on here. The tree's dabbing? Oh no. How dare you? Yeah, you think, Alicia thinks that we're just kind of turned away slightly. Okay, going on with the video. Oh no, it is totally getting pulled up. Okay, you're right. Don't know what to feel about that. Is that it? Man, so like half. Okay.
Miquella would abandon everything.
Okay, so this is the tower thing that was on the right side of the map. So the shadow tree should be like back this way, and this would be like the first town covered in drapes that we saw from the cliffs, like back that way, I guess. Okay. So we've got the shadow graves still, or like the spectral graves rather. So this looks like a reddish cloth from this angle. Miquella would abandon everything. So I do wonder if we don't actually have legitimate sites of grace, and if they are supposed to be these things. It definitely seems that way, which I kind of hoped for. But then like Miyazaki's one interview made it sound like it was kind of supposed to be sites of grace, which kind of like disappointed me. So, ooh, if this idea pans out, I feel happy. You think this looks like a divine tower? Maybe without all of the extra rock stuff on it? That's an interesting thought. It reminded you of what happens in Symphony of the Night when Dracula's castle gets destroyed at the end. Nice. I know we've got a bunch of people in the chat who like to check that stuff out. Hey, Square Table Gaming, thanks for joining. Yeah, I definitely think this is Miquella's rune if we see it so many other times. So, I guess Rune of the Unborn Truthers are crying in shambles, etc. My headcanon. Not my headcanon, but you know, their headcanon. You're thinking breadcrumbs? Yeah. That's kind of the vibe that I got from like the other part of Miyazaki's interview. I guess it might have been a different interview, but yeah. Really exciting. It's kind of interesting because we're also told that Miquella abandoned gold. So for this stuff to be here, like, kind of makes me question it, and whether or not it's more like figurative language than literal stuff. And of course, like, that language isn't necessarily from the game itself. It's like promotional stuff. So I do think it is fair to question how quote unquote canon these materials even really are. Because ironically enough, the story trailer, if somebody's like a game purist, where pretty much the only info from the game or about the game, you can only get it from the game, to a person who has that strict of viewpoint, they could potentially argue that they don't think the story trailer is canon because it's not in the game. So I kind of wish that this is like a trend that I've noticed in gaming, but there's no like title scroll extras anymore. Like back in the day, you'd play like Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like Turtles Back in Time. You don't like press anything on the start screen. Like a minute later, it shows you like a bunch of like gameplay footage or like cutscenes in older games. Like Final Fantasy VIII would do like it's like cinematic stuff. So we need to bring that stuff back. Like it doesn't really like mean much, but it just, I don't know. All my childhood feelings are wrapped up in that nostalgia. Miquella in Smash. His golden flesh, his blinding strength. So yeah, it definitely seems very reminiscent. So I think this is definitely Miquella.
Flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate.
So if this is supposed to be related to Miquella and it's all purple, this is probably the Saint Trina analog that many people are wondering about. Because this is so pixelated before, I was like, oh, is this supposed to be the person that was like sleeping in the field of purple flowers? So we do, speaking of purple flowers, it seems like we've got flower petals. I was wondering if these are like butterfly wings for a second, but this one I think is, and this one especially, definitely seem most reminiscent of flowers. So guys, Saint Trina here. Oh yeah, and for anybody like new to my channel, I like to focus a lot on the Japanese side of the text of Elden Ring, and I know there's like some ambiguity as to the sex or gender of Saint Trina, but as far as the Japanese is concerned, let me just pull it up for you guys. Saint Trina uses Seijo, which literally means like holy woman. So it's a little bit clearer, at least in the Japanese, that Trina is female presenting, at least. So, enchanted by the incantations of Saint Trina here. And then Seijo Torina. So if anybody doesn't believe me, I also like to try to back up my claims with Jisho where it's relevant. So Seijo, saint, but more specifically holy woman. And the kanji breakdown is holy plus woman. And then Square Table Gaming said, the image of Trina sinking you think represents his fate as an Empyrean? Empyreans are all women, so he let go of his feminine persona. I like that idea. I am, still on the fence until we ever get anything definitive. Just because I feel like I've been burned in the past with like the additions of things like Filianor and Maria to the prior games. You think Miyazaki said he in an interview? I would need to double check the interview. That could be like a localization thing. Because I don't remember. That was the Chinese one. Yeah, I don't know enough about Chinese to actually have an informed opinion about that. And then Kayla Litz says the opposite of gold and yellow is purple. Is that like a color theory thing? Or is that like a spectrum of light thing? Probably more color theory. Is she in water? I don't know if it's like a literal water or like a divide between dimensions, because if it's all purple, it is also kind of reminiscent of the Everjails. But with the way that the veil and the dress are, I guess, veil? Hair? Veil? Covering is going, it seems like it could be something other than water. Like, it doesn't seem to like float quite realistically for water. And this might be hair beneath her, but it can also kind of look like blood in a way. Maybe the movement. That's weird. So that kind of looks like neither.
Even his fate.
But yeah, with a Square Table's gaming comment there that having like Saint Trina like represent the fate of an Empyrean, that could definitely work with the visuals that are shown here right now. She's about to fight Ram. Oh no. Oh no. You think it's representative of Sleep Mist? Yeah, I could totally see it. Oh yeah, and we've got other stuff up here. This looks weird though. Like this kind of definitely looks like a fluid of some sort within a fluid. Or maybe it is more misty.
But we are not deterred.
So this looks like activating a site of Miquella almost, as opposed to like a site of Grace. So this is like the Raging Wolf set, basic tarnished set. I'm pretty sure. Oh no, so this is the new one. Oh, if that's that dude, this stuff is very reminiscent of the Raging Wolf set. Because that makes me wonder now. Let me look back at the Raging Wolf set, because we know Vargrim wanted to be an Empyrean Shadowbound Beast like cosplayer. Could he have wanted to be a Miquella fanboy? Oh, I should probably type in wolf. Because with not wolf, waffle, wolf. Because with Vargrim wielding the Godslayer's greatsword, I'm like, okay, he's an Empyrean fanboy. We're told that the gods, what's her face, the Glowmide Queen was an Empyrean, and if he has her weapon, it makes sense to associate those two. But now with this other knight having like a similar style armor, maybe it's worth reconsidering this opinion, even if he's still like a Glowmide Queen fanboy. No. Helmorn by Vargrim, the Raging Wolf, one of the first Tarnished to visit the Round Table Hold. Vargrim's nickname comes from the white wolf's mane that decorates his helm. According to the old legend, wolves are the shadows of the Empyrean, and this is like a issue with Japanese to English because plurality is not often denoted, so wolves are shadows of Empyreans could be another read on this. And this is what Vargrim aspired to be. So obviously, this is a comment more on Vargrim himself and not his armor, so I'm being pretty skeptical of this idea that I'm floating here, just to be clear. But this does make me want to like keep in mind that I should probably reconsider this for when the actual DLC drops there. Sleep Swamp confirmed. Oh no, we're gonna get the sleep crabs coming after us. Hey, Black Man, welcome back to stream. And Lou Reed, nice to have you. Do we know what the beast on the Raging Wolf set is? This is going to sound like a little bit redundant, and I promise I'm not trying to make fun of you, but a raging wolf. That's about all I got, man. Sorry. Ethan says, we've seen all the people we're about to see in the previous trailer, bar the one withered guy at the back. Your bet is that they're all loyal followers of Miquella that have followed Miquella in there. Yeah, that's the vibe that I got so far. Definitely looking forward to looking at them all again. Yeah, Umbra brings up the true MacGuffin question of why the hell did Vargrim wield that damn Godslayer greatsword? Especially because it's like hidden away at the base of a divine tower, for us at least. Yeah. Real life is a sleep swamp for FromSoft. I feel that, man. Thanks, Phil Dispenser. I appreciate that. And welcome on in, by the way. So, this looks like a shot of the big city that may have been burned, like half crumbling, because it doesn't look like this architecture works, but it's not crumbling so much anymore right now. So we've got the field of wheat, which is where we've seen Wickermen before. Okay, so this looks like potentially the Pantheon looking like thing. Oh wait, no. So the Shadow Tree is here. Okay, so this is the crumbling city that we saw in the first trailer, I think. Because the one like by the bridges in the Pantheon. Wait, why don't I just show you guys the trailer? That probably makes way more sense, doesn't it? Rather than me trying to haphazardly describe it. I always try to use the YouTube timings on this. Alright, so I thought it was this thing, which I just saw and skipped over. Okay, yeah. I think... Okay. Yeah, so we got the Pantheon looking like thing over here. So the Site of Grace might be here if we're looking up that way. Yeah, okay. Pantheon looking like thing over here. Shadow Tree that way. So this is definitely that crumbling place. So this is a pretty small tract of land. And I believe this is kind of where we also saw the dude that kind of looks like a horned Tragoth without the horns, if you know what I mean, like the big bulky looking guy. And then we see Miquella's fellows right here.
We choose to follow.
Okay, we do. Okay, and so that's the big place. Yeah, I was talking about... Wait, where is he? This dude, yeah. This kind of looks like a Vargrim mask, almost. But it's definitely not. This guy kind of looks like an Omen-looking like thing. Is he facing backwards from everybody else? What is going on with this dude? Yeah, so we saw this dude in the first trailer, I think in this location, which I'll just go ahead and pull up again. I don't think he shows up here. It's around here, maybe? Maybe not. I didn't think it was this late in the trailer. Like some of these clips are super fast. I'm trying to go slow. Okay, this guy, yeah. So I think, damn it, that's so fast. Yeah, I think this is the same spot because of like the architecture here with the pillars. So let's go here. I guess we don't see pillars here, so maybe I was wrong. I just thought it matched up. Or maybe they're like further back this way. Let me check. The contrast from the base game and the CGI trailer is so wild. Yeah. The middle guy is the one riding through the swamp. The mansion, the swamp mansion. Okay, yeah, maybe. I'll double check. Let me look at that now. You think this dude? Oh, like it looks like there might be feathers under it. I could potentially see that. Yeah, because it does kind of look like a little bit of Eileen the Crow. His head covering is wild though. And so this is like the sleeping figure in the field of purple, like lilies and whatnot. I guess I should just pull it up. So what was I looking for a second ago? I don't even remember anymore. Sorry, I was like distracted by his cloak. I've forgotten what I'm looking up. At the very least, okay, I just saw the purple. Yeah, so we've seen that figure here. I don't think we've seen this person yet. And this person could be the swamp guy, as somebody just mentioned. Who is the sixth person, though? We don't know. And there's 7, at least.
Will you walk with us?
So, he looks like he has golem armor on. Like, this looks like the black stone civilization golem stuff, almost. Like this, like the ridged looking like thing here. I don't know how else to describe it. He looks like a confessor almost. Tarkus, yeah. Golem armor would be sick as hell. The NPC in the intro in the first trailer is the 1 second to last. You mean second to last? I'm not sure. Oh, or do you mean like second to last temporally for that trailer? Confessor's the Kung Fu dude. Oh yeah, totally. You're definitely right about that. The monk looking like guy. 100%. So obviously I wonder whether or not that means it's just Tarnished who has this guy's set. They're trying to show off the abilities, or if this dude is a summon, or anything of that nature. Ethan's gonna feel real bad for killing the person at the front to get their armor. They seem like a pretty cool person. I mean, you know, certain sacrifices need to be made in favor of understanding the lore. A third NPC starting from the right. Doesn't his hat look like the spiked one from Gideon? This dude? Or third from the right, if you, yeah. So I'm assuming you mean this one. Maybe it's not because of the YouTube compression? Okay. Oh yeah, and to be fair, you guys are getting like a much downscaled version because my internet is weak. So I apologize for that if this looks pretty sketchy for you guys. But at any rate, there is like the 4K version on the website. I should probably link it for you guys in chats. Hey, Wild Lemon, thank you for the $2. Will there be stakes of Marika or Miquella? It seems like Miquella at this point, if they're all like huddling around this thing and he activates it, that would be my guess. So yeah, this is the trailer if you guys like want to look at it directly, although I'm sure you guys have like already been inundated with all that knowledge of everyone losing their collective minds at this drop. It's more like a gargoyle chest armor. Oh, that's true too. Like yeah, I see what you're saying. There's kind of like a pretty big overlap, I feel, between like the designs of the golems and the gargoyles, visually, if not like actually like culturally. Both of those things are really strange to me. It's loud. Okay. All right, so that's pretty much it. I'm gonna double check this part. Does say June 21st. Okay, that's all the same. So I'm going to go back to the beginning again.
Peggy 16.
You wonder how many of them are going to be voiced NPCs? I kind of feel like all of them, unless we get like a gold mask situation again. All right, so this time I'll like try to shut up and actually like pay attention to the quotes here.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal.
The seduction and the betrayal. So yeah, I definitely think this is Marika originally. Are these steps? Sorry, I did the thing again. I stopped for the quotes. All right, let's go back.
The betrayal. An affair from which gold arose.
Gold arose from a betrayal. Malekith also says that Marika betrayed him. And so if she has like 2 snake-looking like bracelets, I can't tell if they're identical here or if one has 2 bands and the one like you know, bands relatively speaking because it's coiled. And if this one has 3, or if it's just like a perspective thing, because there might be another one at the bottom. But this is definitely her armband. This definitely looks like the rune arc thing. And that would make her the recipient of its bounty, which she would then divest to others, I suppose. So from the land of shadow, she creates the Erdtree. So maybe the Erdtree is like another, like the portal to the Shadowlands. Oh no, that might align with the idea of like the Tarnished actually going to the Shadowlands then, because as like we pointed out at the very beginning of the stream while we were like kind of wasting time, that in the opening cutscene and whatnot, this is kind of like always intrigued me. Hold on. We like wake up here because of the grace, but when you like look that way, it's very reminiscent of like the Erdtree in like when you go to fight Marika. Like this is very reminiscent of the stone platform or whatever it's called. And it's almost like we're walking out into the lands between, potentially from the Erdtree, which would kind of make sense because if we died and the Erdtree has our remembrance, it makes sense that we would be like within it to some degree. And so with the trailer talking about the birth of gold and like this arc coming out and her facing out, I feel like this might be symbolic of like us going out into the lands between. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Oh, damn, you guys are going off. Holy crap. Reminiscent of the Vision of Grace. I'm showing a black screen. Was I? Oh, no. Let me check my YouTube stuff. All right. All right. We should be good. All right. So let's go back to the trailer. So I'm going to like double back again for the quotes just to keep it fresh in my mind. Man, this is so cool.
An affair from which gold arose.
All right, so what was the first line again?
Seduction.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning.
The seduction. And the betrayal.
So Marika betrayed somebody. So, okay, I'm going to go a little bit schizo lore theory mode live on the chat. So I think in some ways, Marika may have felt somewhat betrayed by Radagon, and I wonder if a similar situation is coming up here. Because, like, looking at the quality of this skin, there could be the possibility that this is the Glowmide Queen and her god skin, or this could have been a god which Marika killed, and this is, like, literal god skin from, like, the gods that were skinned, I guess would be one other way of looking at it, to just unleash some more cursed thoughts into the world. And if there is a betrayal there for Marika to become a god, could Marika have become paranoid of what Radagon was doing and felt that kind of betrayal? Malekith seems to think that Marika betrayed him to some degree, which has been woefully vague, and there's not a lot of threads to pull from that in the base game, so we might get a bit more info about that. And with this all being related to the beginning, I can only surmise that this is talking about like the actual beginnings of the Erdtree. And yeah, this mountain of corpses kind of like coming a tree form is just, I'm here for it. All right, let me see chats. Wild Lemon asks, where would this very physical land be? How does the tree veil this? So that's a good question. We don't actually know when the Shadowlands were segregated. So it could have happened at the beginning of Marika and Godfrey's reign. And even if that were the case and Messmer came later, he may have been sent there later. We don't really know. So there's a lot of different ways that this could be spun. And then What's New Boys asks, aren't they one body? So we don't technically know. I am of the opinion, until shown otherwise, that I think they could be. But even if that's the case, they don't seem to have the same values and the same wills, which might be kind of hinted with the D twin set, where they share 2 bodies and 2 wills and 1 soul as far as the Japanese goes. The English is a little bit off, but I think Radagon's will might be different than Marika's, and I don't know if he ever had like his own will to begin with, or if something went wrong when he cleansed himself with Celestial Dew. Could that have like removed a certain kind of binding Marika may have had on him? I don't necessarily know. T Watered Houseplant says the person pulling the threads could be Radagon and not Marika. They look like they might be more masculine. That is something I wondered as well, but I didn't want to be like, oh, does Marika like look masculine? Just because, like, I don't know, it's a little bit weird. But I guess like within the context of Elden Ring, that is kind of a legitimate question. Like, I don't really care if she looks masculine, but all right, come on YouTube. All right, gotta exit full screen. Oh, my trick didn't work. Okay.
Mind spoke of the beginning. The seduction and the betrayal. An affair from which gold arose.
Yeah, I definitely think she does look a bit masculine here, but I was like, well, this could just be an angle thing. Honestly, if you've ever seen like women do things like pull-ups, they do tend to look more masculine as a result of this pose specifically. So I was like wondering, but not exactly. I don't think her hair is presented as red here. Wait. It's not braided though. It is not braided though. Not like fully. That might be relevant. Hey, Disillusioned Dork, thank you so much for the 10 pounds. You saw the thumbnail on the previous stream and is wondering if I'm aware of the theory by Tim Diggity that Melina, the best girl, is an avatar of Miquella and possibly Saint Trina. So I was trying to get to that video last night. We didn't get to it. I might get to it later tonight, but at the very least, definitely later this week, because I've not watched that one yet. Come on, YouTubes. It's so annoying because it says it's already buffered and all these playback issues. I hate the modern internet sometimes. Maybe it's before she braided them. It does make me wonder because Radagon's hair is also slightly braided. So the fact that it's unraveled, I don't know how significant this is, despite it like being the birth of gold. And also like, where the hell is Godfrey in relation to all this? And we are told that from protection of the Erdtree, it was through countless victories in war. I'm just going to refresh the page. Through countless victories in war that it became the embodiment of order.
Peggy
so
16.
The fire giant question becomes relevant as far as like how everything fits together, even after the shadow tree kind of births the Erdtree. Don't take that like sentence super literally there. At least from like the emergence of the Erdtree into the lands between, if it was born in the land of shadow, I guess. The braid wouldn't shorten that much.
The seduction and the betrayal.
Is this a face? This thing maybe. So I didn't say this out loud, but God, come on, bro. Oh, okay, it was just me stopping at like a, no, it's having like legitimate frame rate issues. I wish like FromSoft allowed us to like download this stuff a bit more directly at times. Find out why? It's probably because too many people are watching this.
An affair from which gold arose.
This is a buzzkill. So yeah, going back to what I don't know how to pronounce your name. Jaruro is asking, Haruro, I'm not sure. Is that a face which like Melina was pulling the thing from? Because we see the Elden Ring within like Marika's abdomen, it seems kind of emblematic of a womb, but the purple thing right there kind of reminds me of like the purple crest of the Godskins. Man, I'm just gonna leave this alone for now and pull up some pictures to compare. So not only is it like the paleness of the skin, but I think this thing might be meant to represent the Gloam-eyed Queen, which might tie into all this stuff. So if the Gloam-eyed Queen is legitimately killed at the birth of the Erdtree, that's perfectly fine. I'm willing to entertain that and try to recontextualize what I think about destined death in relation to that. And everything relating to the Golden Order specifically. Come on, bro. I'm going to do like the full reset.
Peggy 16.
The seduction.
All right, I'm going to reduce the quality because this is unacceptable. Why did I put it at 1080p? Oh, auto. That's probably what's been screwing me up. Partially.
The seduction. And the betrayal.
Damn it. So like skipped and I missed it. This is super frustrating.
The seduction.
All right, we're gonna... Okay, so I wondered if this thing right here, it looks a little bit purplish. This isn't like the best lighting for it. Is reminiscent of this thing here. Snakes. What was that? It looks sus. It looks potentially like a womb almost. Marika pulling something out of one of her apostles? Maybe.
And the betrayal.
So her hair is super long here. And it's
affair
unbraided.
From which gold arose.
Gold arises from this. So that's kind of messed up because depending on how people feel about the ancient dragons, you'd think gold would be way more ancient, perhaps. So this could be like flowery language and not like literal language. That might be something to keep in mind. Because this is a retelling of somebody else's perspective, perhaps. And we don't see a hammer, so maybe she took this gold and hammered it into the shape of the Elden Ring and the Great Runes, potentially? I don't know. Such a big pile of corpses, too. So, I do think it's possible that these corpses could have been sacrificed to kind of make gold, essentially, like from memories and whatnot, or like their wills, something along those lines. Choose your Berserk headcanon here. Yeah, very Berserk-like. Looks like the opening to the Erdtree. Yes, indeed. So Cowpie thinks that this could be the gold of the Golden Order and not necessarily the gold of the ancient dragons. Maybe.
And so too was Shadow born.
So too was Shadow born is interesting because Shadow could be a reference to either the Shadowlands, to destined death itself, which should mean quite a lot. Like, could this be the birth of the Rune of Death? And not necessarily like plucking it as in removing it from the Elden Ring, but like the creation of it. Let me double check the Black Flame stuff. Sacred Sword of the Gloam-Eyed Queen, who controlled the Godskin Apostles before her defeat at the hands of Malekith. That really doesn't actually say something. The black flames wielded by the Apostles are channeled from this sword. Followers of Destined Death. So I think Apostle set. The Apostles, once said to serve Destined Death, are wielders of the god-slaying Black Flame, but after their defeat by Malekith the Black Blade, the source of their power was sealed away. So could Malekith have killed the Gloam-Eyed Queen here, and Marika is just looting the corpse? Like a good raid leader? I don't know. Need to stew on this stuff quite a bit more. Eamon says, ever since you saw Griffith pulling out souls that look like Grace, you've been side-eyeing all the Grace. Oh yeah, no. The first time I saw the Memory of Grace, I was like, man, this looks a lot like a humanity sprite, but gold-colored. Intellect asks, how could the Gloam-Eyed Queen go against Marika if she can seal destined death? That conflict poses a lot of problems to the Gloam-Eyed Queen opposing Marika. So many people believe the Gloam-Eyed Queen would predate Marika, and it was after Marika defeated the Gloam-Eyed Queen that she became god. But for what it's worth, even though the Gloam-Eyed Queen is called an Empyrean, I guess technically you could say that Marika is also an Empyrean, so there wouldn't necessarily be like a conflict of titling. Although it certainly would be annoying that like the Gloam-Eyed Queen wouldn't have been referred to as a god at any point in the game so far. And Joao Duarte, welcome into the stream. You think that the corpses are the base for the Erdtree? If not the Erdtree, definitely the Shadow Tree, and I don't know where one begins and the other ends. So, Tea-Watered Houseplant says, Aeneas says the forbidden shadow plucked from the Golden Order upon its creation, so maybe the idea is the shadow was born as a separate thing by being removed. Okay, yeah, I could see where you're going with that, like the literal imagery of like literal birth. Because it does say plucked. Yeah, you're kind of right there. Let me double check the Mending Rune of the Death Prince. Yeah, the Golden Order began by the plucking out of the Rune of Death. Which would mean... So this is like one of those issues where, depending on what you think now, you probably want to go back and recontextualize a lot of the previous ideas, because if the Rune of Death was in the Elden Ring, and if, preliminarily speaking here, we believe that this is the Gloam-Eyed Queen from which it is being removed from, then that would mean the Gloam-Eyed Queen controlled the Elden Ring, which could potentially mean that the era predating Marika's could have belonged to the Gloam-Eyed Queen, obviously. And then, does that mean the Gloam-Eyed Queen was the god of the dragons? Maybe. You think the eye womb thing looks like it's made of cloth? Okay. They should give us Marika's dress as a cosmetic. I do know a lot of people want more like actual dresses. That'd be pretty cool. You don't know what it means though. It's all good, man. And then Dago says, Elden Star's description though. The Elden Star's description could be compatible even if the Gloam-Eyed... Alright. Still nothing? For real? Refresh? I don't know what to do about this. Why is everything going wrong for me? Maybe it's actually my internet and not the YouTubes. You guys can hear me? Okay, now we're good. Thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. That was like an OBS issue. That really wasn't even an internet one. But man, everything's just going wrong on this day of joyous news. Okay, thank you all. I appreciate that so much. All right, so what was I saying just a moment ago? OBS is evil sometimes. Yeah, man. I just asked... The Elden Stars description. Right. Okay, so going back to the Elden Stars stuff, was the arrival of the meteor and the gold and the Elden Beast done before Marika's time? That's certainly a possibility, and even without like this Gloam-Eyed Queen lens, I think that's a pretty fair assessment, depending on however one feels about the Elden Ring's depiction in Fair Missoula, if that's like a pre-American depiction there. So, right. I don't think there's like an inherent contradiction with the Elden Stars description, and even though I am loath to point it out, for what it's worth, it is kind of explicit hearsay. So it's a story, and it could just be that, a story, and not actually factually accurate. So let's go ahead and pull up the description for anybody who's wondering. And so for anybody who's new to my channel, the way that I approach the lore is that I will take every item description at face value after I'd like double check the Japanese text. If that item description doesn't use what I call hearsay or speculative language, by which I mean like if it doesn't use terms like it is said, it's considered. And quite often, the "it is said" thing tends to be a bit of a rhetorical device in Japanese to give like a little bit more space, and shouldn't necessarily always be taken as hearsay, because you do get like really reliable information even through like descriptions written as hearsay. But with that being said, I do feel like when this device does come up, it is still worthwhile to critically examine it, that there might be something else going on underneath the surface. And for anybody who's like, why does he really care about this? In a game like Dark Souls 2, you have this kind of contradiction with the English text because of what you get with, what's his face? Sir Alan's stuff. Oh, this is not the right version of this. Anyway, why is this all messed up now? Oh, this is the Elden Ring one. Oh, what did I do with my... Okay. Dark Souls 1. I'm not paying attention. So, going back to the Sir Alan comparison, as far as the English version of the text is concerned, it says in his set specifically, let me go down to the bottom. It says that Sir Alan came to this land from the east, blah, blah, blah. At the very peak of his sire's rule, Sir Alan set out again in search of lands yet unknown. So the English doesn't have the speculative "it is said" speech here. So the Japanese is like, oh, this is hearsay. And what really happens is, spoiler alert for Dark Souls 2, the main character of the player can go into the past and fight Sir Alan and kind of kill him. But it seems as though Alan's contemporaries don't know what happened and just kind of assume that he leaves, I guess. Like, that's the story that comes out of this event, which is similar to like what happens in Dark Souls 1 with Artorias of the Abyss and whatnot. I don't need this anymore. So that's kind of like where I'm coming at with this. And so with Elden Stars specifically, we've got the very dreaded "it is said" that long ago the Greater Will sent a golden star bearing a beast into the lands between, which would later become the Elden Ring. So I think it's pretty fair to like roll with this for now, since we don't really have an alternative interpretation or explanation for what the hell is going on. But I think with the "it is said" here, it should be taken with an asterisk, and we've got like the little fine print that says like terms of the deal are subject to change. Pray I don't alter the deal further, I guess. Hey, Wild Lemon, thanks for the $2 again. I appreciate that. 145, you can see the faint Erdtree to the left of the shadow. 145. Let's check that out. You think this is the real Erdtree here, I guess. Is that... Maybe. Vivar asks, could that meaty mess be the Crucible or part of it? They seem to be blending together pretty well. Yeah, that's kind of always been part of my interpretation of the Crucible, in that life being blended together doesn't necessarily mean primordial soup. I kind of have always pictured the Erdtree as acting as the Crucible by taking in all of the dead and congealing them together into sap, which is kind of what you get later on with the Shadow Tree and like the stuff coming out of it, which I think is kind of hinted at with the Blessed Dew Talisman. Oh, this might be a Japanese to English thing. I think even in English you can get to the reading, but the Japanese might be a little bit more consistent with the terminology between like tears, sap, and amber. But I think the sap of the Erdtree comes from people being absorbed into its roots and absorbing like their kind of gold, their life essence, their spirits perhaps, and repurposing them into the blessings of the Erdtree. And that might be how we ultimately are able to keep being reborn by the Erdtree. We might just be having a bunch of extraneous life recycled into us over and over. So if you die, you're killing the souls of the dead. Good job, Tarnished. I don't know. Again, that's like super heavy speculation on my part. So Mao, welcome into the stream. You said that means the Glowmide Queen was the god in the Crucible era. Maybe. We don't know. This is all very preliminary stuff. There could be more things to consider, but that's if we believe what we saw a moment ago was actually the Glowmide Queen. As I mentioned earlier in the stream, there is also the possibility that this was a god that was slain, and it seems to have been slain by Marika and whatnot, and all of that thing. So that thing could have like the literal god skin and not be a skinned god, I guess. So take with that information what you will. Ethan says, if that is the Erdtree, it would explain the building getting sucked up. It's a giant portal above both trees. And then Tragic ESO, yeah, I think that's a good point. And I mentioned that at the beginning of the stream, or the beginning of the trailer, not the stream, that I think a lot of this stuff is reminiscent of what you see in things like the Blasphemous Blade. And I guess since I'm talking about that, I do think there's a lot of visual parallels between not just Rykard's Blasphemous Blade, but also the ulcerated tree spirits, if you can believe that. And I've got a little bit of footage to go with this. It'll take a second for Windows to find it. Okay. Sorry for the noise. All right, let me mute that. All right, so when you look at the ulcerated tree spirit, it kind of looks like this weird snake tree monster that's kind of like a repurposed pus of man from Dark Souls 3. But when you zoom in and look at like its body portion, these centipede-like legs actually start looking more and more like the kinds of tendrils that you can see coming out of Rykard. Like, they don't seem like a normal creature. It seems very chimeric, which I think is a similar process to Rykard eating things and becoming part of him. I think the Erdtree is essentially eating things, just in a less organic, animated way, just like its own like plant-like way, perhaps. And yeah, as Niall says, the corpse is underground. Yeah, I guess I haven't shown off the roots, have I? So, all right, I've got it. If Windows will just chill out for a second. Too much footage. Not enough labels. All right. So yeah, I think this is pretty much almost exactly analogous to the Erdtree roots in the catacombs. Which then, I guess, does raise the question of, if there was another tree which legitimately preceded the Erdtree, did these kind of burial rites precede the Erdtree, and was the so-called tree beforehand also fed through corpses? And if so, like, how does that make the Erdtree different from such a tree if it did exist? So that's kind of, I think, a really big question that can come out of this trailer so far. Yeah, and as Bella says, there seems to be a constant motif of people and people's bodies making up items, architecture, and other living things. So yeah, that's a good point to bring up as well, because we have like the Sacred Relic Blade, the Finger Slayer Blade coming from the corpses of beings. We also potentially have the Dancer in Red. Let me pull up the Shadow of the Erdtree thing. Might have a Finger Slayer Blade type thing going on. She was like later on in the trailer, I think. Okay, there we go. All right, I'll back up if it doesn't look super clear. Okay, I'll back up. I'll back up again. Okay, so somebody like did a CSI zoom in on one of these blades, and it actually kind of looks like a Finger Slayer blade almost. So not yet. Okay, so the quality of my video is a bit low, but especially with you guys looking at it in 720p right now, this part right here by like the bottom of her skirt, like the tip of her curved blade, comes off into 2 points, and it almost seems to wrap around like a helix style design. So I think Bella is right on the money there, where like corpses keep being like integrated into other things. As macabre as that idea may be. All right, let's keep going. Okay, this is a pretty good angle. Okay, there you go. Oh, then it cuts. Okay, this is it right here. So it's a little bit clearer here, although it's super pixelated on my screen. I don't have like a 4K quality version of this trailer on hand, unfortunately. So, okay, there we go, there we go. So that should be a little bit clearer, I hope, for you guys. All right. So going back to the trailer here again.
And so too was Shadow born.
So plucked, being born. That's some pretty cool imagery right there. I'll try to keep that in mind.
What followed was a war unseen.
So after the Rune of Death, there was a war, but it was unseen. I don't mean to like literally just re-say what they're saying in a different way. That's like me processing the information and like mentally comparing that to like the lore as I understand it here. So this war unseen, I'm trying to like compartmentalize as in, is there another war going on in the Shadowlands while Godfrey is off conducting war in the lands between against like the fire giants perhaps? So is there a war on multiple fronts, or is this war unseen already after Godfrey and Marika's reign to some degree? There isn't like a full on causal relationship here, although it does seem to be heavily implied that the war would have immediately followed this event, I guess.
One that could never be put to song.
So, okay, if it can never be put to song, it sounds like a war that shouldn't be... Okay. So, this might be a poetic way of saying that this war shouldn't be remembered, and if remembrances and memory are all tied to, like, grace and whatnot, this could be a war without grace, could be the implication here, and... it could be like a war without like the blessing of the American Erdtree, like the base game Erdtree, I guess might be a better way of saying that right now. Might be what they're going with. I don't know.
A purge without grace.
Well, I guess that answers that question. Maybe if I watched the damn video.
Or honor. The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
This looks really cool. This kind of reminds me of like the wings of the Orphan of Kos. Are these dudes just chilling in the flame? Huh. So this is like a spiral spear looking like thing. And this is anti-Messmer. So if he's a tyrant, maybe he's taken control of this thing and had no affiliation with it. So this could be all be like the Omen people, which makes sense based on what we've seen in the other impaled stuff. Oh man, I love this. So yeah, it's kind of like floating up there. I was looking to see if the branches were silver here yet at the top or anything like that. Does not seem to be the case, and we have all this stuff coming out of it. So it looks like it might be pulled up through the roots here and then distributed down to a tower that might be erected later to catch the Erdtree's grace, perhaps? Tyrant doesn't necessarily mean usurper. That's fair. That's fair. Mao asks, if the god of the Crucible era was one who focused in death, that would explain the various cultures of death before the Golden Order being in power. Yeah. The only, like, some of the questions that I have about that is then, I guess I'll pull up the, mind-bending Trinity graphic. Wait, where is it? Where is my info? Oh, here it is. Okay. So, if Destined Death was around, or like the Rune of Death or whatnot was around before Marika and the god of that era controlled it, does that mean like Ghost Flame was associated with that form of Destined Death? Was Black Flame, are they all meant to tie in together? Did Marika and Malekith, like plucking out the Rune of Death, affect all of these other forms of flame? Because even so, I'm not sure if like the Deathbird stuff would be the same as like the Black Flame stuff, or what might be going on with the Rune of Death here. Even though I do think they might all draw their power from it, perhaps. I don't know. You think the gold from the tree is forming a hand down here? I think that's just a little bit of a perspective thing. I think that might be a branch. But you might be right, though. Let's look at it in motion. Okay, no, I think the parallax makes it look a bit different.
And so kindly Miquella would abandon everything. His golden flesh, his blinding strength, even his fate.
So then I wonder if fate is tied to dreams if they are using Saint Trina imagery.
But we are not deterred. We choose to follow.
I really like the music here too. It's pretty, I don't know, inspiring. What is this thorny ass looking thing down here? This almost looks more reminiscent of Deathroot. It doesn't seem to match either of these other trees yet. Is there a third thing going on? Do we have the third tree after all? But not really. I don't know. Maybe there is Deathroot in the DLC. I'm a little bit skeptical, but if like the trees got infiltrated, I could see that potentially happening. But I also feel like Marika may have shattered the ring to try to avoid Deathroot infiltrating it. Yeah, I'm going to have to really think about that aspect with the Shadow Tree again, I guess. It's hard to tell for real. Yeah, El Degusto, this just dropped like an hour ago, bro. It's wild.
Will you walk with us?
It's also very interesting that if these are tarnished warriors, like how they may have come into the Shadowlands, if they were like always part of Miquella's retinue. To be fair, we certainly have a large number of tarnished who are in the lands between before us, and Miquella has a large number of followers. Oh no, 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 no. So I'm a little bit lost for thought right now because I'm trying to mentally picture when the Tarnished returned in the wake of the Shattering, and whether or not these Tarnished had a personal relationship with Miquella himself before he became a Cocoon Boy. So the demigod form of Miquella, and what that could mean in relation to the actual Shattering War with with Melina fighting Radagon and Miquella potentially being absconded around that time. Maybe Miquella was stolen by Moog long after Melina fought Radagon, and these dudes and Miquella could have been working together, and Melina was just recovering in her sleep. Yeah, Mao always wondered where the Godskins got their skins, if Marika seems to be the only god, but the Glowmide Queen just killed any god before Marika. Yeah, and it doesn't help that there are like different forms of god that might tie into like the vision of the Elden Ring's vessel, which is a distinct thing from Marika, because we're told of outer gods, but we don't exactly know what those are, and not all gods are like the Marika style god. So are there other forms of gods, like in the way that there's other forms of royalty, like demi-humans compared to like Morgoth being a prince or anything like that? Yeah, I definitely get Mireille Mask vibes from this dude as well, or this girl, can't tell. And someone in somewhere, welcome on in. You always assume the godskins got their skin stuff from the serpent god, you know, with the shedding and stuff. Shedding is an interesting idea. I don't think I'd thought about that. But for what it's worth, like the stuff on their robes seems very human-esque and less snake-like. Because there's not exactly scales, and they have like faces and whatnot. And nipples. Do yourselves a favor. Don't look at the back of the Godskin Noble set.
Will you walk with us?
Hey, Chew Connoisseur, nice to see you again. The trailer gave so much more than you expected. I didn't have any expectations, and it's given me so much more and so little at the same time. This trailer felt way too short, being like pretty much done before 3 minutes with it being the story trailer. I wanted all the answers, Miyazaki. Where are they? Whew. Yeah, I was not expecting this, though. This, I was definitely not.
The seduction and the betrayal.
Wonder if this is anything like significant. It almost looks like a pupae.
An affair from which gold arose.
So I haven't said it outright here, but there could be the possibility that Marika could be a god slayer herself if this is a god that would have been skinned for the godskins, and you all can do with that kind of a pretty heavy implication what you will. So despite how things may seem, there are also different ways of interpreting stuff, which is part of the fun of like trying to like figure everything out here.
So too was Shadow born.
I've wondered this before, but it didn't exactly seem to work out for a variety of reasons.
Followed.
But I have wondered whether or not the Rune of Death was actually
unseen.
Legitimately Marika's rune. And I guess I'm just gonna like back up the screen again and then pull up the icons. So part of the reason why I didn't really buy into that idea is because this almost seems inverted in the wrong way for the Rune of Death when we look at it from the Malekith cutscene. And I'm going to pull that up in a second here. But now, like with the birth of Shadowline and the seemingly being plucked from the corpse of what looks like a god, whether that be a god skin or a god, makes me question things. So, yeah, this, it seems like the hilt, if it's representative of a sword, seems to be pointing the wrong direction from here. Like, even if you flip this upside down, it doesn't work, because the sticky end is at the wrong side. But if it's a full-on ring, so, let's say this is only a fragment of the rune, then you could have, like, kind of how like the Golden Order Greatsword looks, where you have like the part on top like disconnected from the part on bottom. I guess I'll show that off. Budge. So if you have something like this going on, could that work? Could this be the top of Marika's rune? But then why does it only show half of her rune in her eye? This just doesn't seem to really work to me for a variety of reasons. Because what we see Marika holding in the actual trailer, it's lacking the top part. So yeah, I just don't think that works. All right. Okay, so I guess that's it there. Let me check in with you guys. Teawater Houseplant says, Japanese uses Umaru for both Gold Arose and Shadowborn. Gold was born and Shadowborn. Interesting. Yeah, I feel like I'm going to need to ruminate on that a lot. Thank you for that. It looks like the threads might be coming out of the people around her. Like their grace. She might be absorbing their grace to create gold. And it's cut content now, but it says like grace was brought to the lands between with the Erdtree, which is a line that was always very interesting to me. Because I thought it was silly to question whether or not gold existed before because of the ancient dragons. But the line saying that gold was born here is evocative, so... Damn, this is so annoying to me because we've got the Gravelstone seal legitimately saying that there's no real meaningful distinction between the ancient dragons to some degree. I'll pull up the actual text for you guys. It says, the worship of the ancient dragons does not conflict with belief in the Erdtree. After all, this seal and lightning itself are both imbued with gold. But I guess, to be fair, the Japanese is ever so slightly different. I really don't know how relevant this is, but it says the seal and the lightning, everything is gold colored. And yeah, it doesn't necessarily even use the same form of gold that's used for like gold as in the Erdtree or the grace of gold. So this character certainly does mean gold, but it just means like metal essentially, but context kind of reveals it. And if you want gold, you put the character for yellow in front of like the metal gold to create like gold, I guess. Sorry if that's convoluted. Yeah, and Marika wants to focus on an epoch of life. Yeah, and even though Sushan didn't exactly say it, I do wonder where like the two fingers fit into this as well. She says, is this like a finger? I have wondered whether there's like, okay, I guess I'll pull up the shadow, the first trailer again. I have wondered whether or not there's like this crossed tree design that kind of looks reminiscent of two fingers, but it's a little bit of a wild claim and I don't fully buy it myself. It's just like a passing thought when I first saw it. I think it's after this. Yeah, I think it's kind of later on. Okay, it was here. So this thing right here, I was like, this kind of looks like the two fingers for real, but it definitely also doesn't. So maybe there's like a two finger thing going on with this. Could she have used two fingers and their power to shape gold to do this? Where the hell did the two fingers fit into this? Oh man, that's something that I honestly didn't even really consider too much. Like I was like, oh well, we might get something, and I wasn't worrying about it. But now I'm like actually thinking about that. Sins of Avarice 97, thank you so much for the $10 Canadian. You're starting to think Marika was trying to flee from the shadow, getting to the lands between to rebuild and prepare for Messmer, then ended up destroying the Elden Ring to defend against his entry. Let me think about that. So playing with that idea a little bit then, do you potentially think Radagon and Messmer could be colluding? Or do you think Messmer would also usurp Radagon? And do you think Messmer could be a Golden Order adherent, or does he want like his own stuff? Intellect thinks the Golden Spawn is a reference to the Golden Order itself when Malekith defeats the Glowmide Queen and starts the Golden Order by removing death. Yeah, I definitely think that's a possibility. And of course, like this is dialogue, so I do treat it with a bit of skepticism. But even with me being skepticism, I do like to conduct the thought of experiment of like taking it as far as I possibly can to see like if it's coherent and consistent, or if there are inconsistencies elsewhere. It's all good, Sin of Avarice. Yeah, so that's kind of like the way that I like to approach the lore. It's like, okay, if this is true, where does that lead us? You know, so Yeah. Oh yeah, and if anybody wants to like discuss more lore, feel free to join the Discord server linked at the top, or like, you know, comment on my videos. I honestly don't really like to comment on YouTube a lot, just because like it's really slow. I don't always get notifications of stuff. So Discord is definitely the place where you want to be if you want to have like some real Pepe Ofnir interactions over here. Def joining, appreciate that. Yeah, because I'm sure like my Discord's going to be set up. The story trailer drop. We're going to have a lot of crazy theories in the near future. And yeah, with this being like purplish, this definitely seems more glow-mighty. Cool. I guess we never get a shot of Marika's eyes.
Was a war unseen.
True Connoisseur asks, does this process somehow create Radagon? No visual hint here. He's here in the significant moment. So some people have already wondered whether like Marika's form looks more masculine here. And my question is like, is Godfrey part of this? Did Marika meet Godfrey in the lands between? Is that like how they came to be a thing? Did the Erdtree exist before the war against the giants, and Marika telling Godfrey to do everything for the Erdtree mean that it was meant in the defense of the Erdtree rather than the birth of it? That's kind of been a long-standing question I've had about their relationship. And then, oh no, so Omen stuff. Okay, so if Godfrey was in the lands between first, like not the Shadow Realms or whatnot, and Marika met him after this event, which I don't fully buy, I'm just like floating the idea, then that would raise the question of why are the Omen children still like Omen? And why is Godwyn not an Omen? Which I think is still like an important question no matter how you slice the timeline, which has bothered me for a very long time here. Can I check if there's differences in the Japanese trailer? Yeah, let me look. It might take me a second. Eruden. Oh, come on, bro. All right. Okay, we're good. Oh, we had it. Oh, it's already there. I'm blind. So this should just have the same English voiceovers, but Japanese subtitles.
Miquella the Kind spoke of the beginning.
Yeah, so Miquella-sama just like proclaimed essentially.
The seduction and the betrayal.
Okay, yeah, that checks out. At the beginning, so yeah, it should, yeah. So it talks about at the beginning. That's just like a difference of the ordering of the sentences. Oh well, whatever.
An affair from which gold arose.
Okay, yeah, I definitely see what they're working with that. So that's, it's like from that, from doing that, that's where you get the birth of gold. And it just uses like gold. It doesn't like necessarily say gold in order or anything.
And so too was Shadow born.
And also was Shadow born.
What followed was a war unseen.
Okay, so the unseen part, I didn't see that. Hold on.
Followed was
Yeah, and so there was fighting. Okay.
a war unseen. One that could never be put to song.
A never ending. Oh, damn it.
One that could.
Okay, this is where the veiled thing comes in. Yeah, so that's like one of the more challenging parts of like dealing with the English to Japanese stuff at times, as far as like localizing goes, because sometimes you need to shift semantic meaning to fit in other places to like work with like cadence or timing issues. So this isn't like necessarily like saying like the localization is wrong. It's just like I didn't have the full context. So it makes sense that they said it was a veiled war earlier, because they have like a hidden fight here essentially. And like fight, war, they're kind of like synonymous. It's not as strict in the Japanese there. So yeah, no, the other stuff is perfectly fine.
Never be put to song. A purge without grace or honor.
Yep.
The tyranny of Messmer's flame.
I didn't see tyranny there, but it might show up elsewhere. So Mao says, maybe at this time the grace is reddish, like the Erdtree was still a seed. So typically when I say like red tinged gold, I do think something more along this line where it's a little bit darker than like the super bright stuff that you get with the Golden Order Fundamentalist incantations, like the super yellow stuff, kind of like this. But or like the color of like the Crucible Knight armor, I think is more reminiscent of this, because it's said to be tinged with red in the Crucible Horn Shield. I'll just type in Horn Shield for you real quick. Oh, come on, let me turn this off. So, Great Shield of Red Tinged Gold carried by Crucible Knights features a great horn, and then here is what it looks like. So comparing that color to this, it's not like super close, which is kind of annoying to be honest, but I do think there is a lot more reminiscent of that. I do think the Crucible aspect incantations tend to be more like this color than a brighter super yellow gold. Was that Marika burning? I do not know. Any sign of the Frenzied Flame in this trailer? No, just us going collectively frenzied as a chat, you know. That's orange, not red. Well, if you have yellow and you add red to it, and it becomes more reddish, you could say it's more orange. Yeah.
And so kindly Miquella would abandon everything.
Yeah, that's spot on.
His golden flesh, his blinding strength.
Hold on.
And flesh.
Yeah, okay, perfectly
his
fine.
Blinding strength. Even his fate.
Huh.
But we are not deterred.
Actually, I'm not familiar with that set of kanji. Hold on. So that wasn't the kind of fate that I was expecting. Maybe this is an archaic form of it.
Even his.
So we've got like the Shuku from Shukufuku and Mei from like Unmei and like Life. Hold on. Oh, no, the other, not Shukufuku, but Shuku. Why am I blind? Am I thinking of the right thing? No? Yes, okay. And then Unmei. Shukume. Okay. Damn frickin' synonyms and cognates. I don't know the like semantic difference between Shukume versus Unmei, but this is a different form of fate from what's used elsewhere in the game here. I'll need to like look this up in a native dictionary. And that probably might not have like the best answer for this question either.
Fate. But we are not deterred.
They'll follow him.
We choose to follow.
Hold on, that was pretty quick. They will follow him like down the road. Yeah, on the road that he's like going, like that figure essentially. So yeah, it's a little bit poetic in Japanese too.
Will you walk with us?
Yeah, that's perfectly fine there. All right, yeah, so the translation seems pretty similar for the most part. I guess like the biggest difference in my mind right now is just that fate might not be fate. There might be like a certain kind of a nuance to go with this form of fate that it might be different from the other forms of fate we've seen so far, which is kind of really annoying to think about. I-Man doesn't think that's fate? Or are you just like quoting me? Eladelia says, this really doesn't seem like it's setting up something that won't have any effect on the ending of the main game. Yeah, when Miyazaki said that in the interview, I'm like, this has no bearing on the main game. That's not out of character for FromSoft, because technically, like, the ending of the Ringed City doesn't really speak to the ending of the base game, and I kind of figured something else is going on here. So I can kind of see how it works, but I'm really intrigued by the conflict that's going on between Messmer, but also like the dual nature of the Erdtree and the Shadow Tree. And I'm sure like a lot of lore theorists have a lot of ideas about that. I know Elden Enthusiast was talking about Giordano's Bruno's Gnosticist ideologies and thinking of like the Shadow Realm being the realm of ideas and stuff like that. I don't know how well alchemy, the alchemical lens, will account for like the Shadow Tree. So I'm curious to see what people are going to talk about there. Maybe like Negredo. I don't know. Maybe we'll change the map. Well, I'm pretty confident Miyazaki said like the map of the base game isn't going to change. And you just be able to just access the DLC at any point from the base map once you've like unlocked it. I do wish that there was going to be a little bit more overlap from the base game to the DLC and vice versa, though. Killer King says, Bloodborne's DLC felt very important, but still has its own contained story. True. Yeah, as Intellect says, you don't think it'll actually affect the end of the game, but you think it'll affect our perception of it. Hopefully. I hope it helps recontextualize the endings at least like the main 4. All right, everybody. So I think this is a pretty good stopping point for now. I want to thank all of you for joining me. If you do want to discuss more lore, there's always the Discord link at the top of the stream and also like in the video description. And for anybody who's new to the channel, I do try to stream every day at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time up until like the DLC releases. Then I'll fall off the face of the earth while I try to like go through that myself. And then I'll probably stream again not too long after the DLC releases, and I'll probably like go through like a DLC character and whatnot. So if you're interested in like seeing my critique of like other people's content on the lore of Elden Ring, that's what I've been focusing on for like my streams and stuff, and just like other topics in general which interest me, and FromSoft games especially. So I can only imagine that there might be some more materials that may have been released with this that I'm unaware of yet. So I need to take care of some other stuff in real life, and then I'll like scour the internet to see if there's more stuff to talk about before I go live. Maybe there's like another interview, all that stuff, and look into the Shukume thing with like the fate that's not fate, but it's also fate. So, right. Yeah, thank you all so much for joining, and thank you all for the donations throughout the stream. It's very kind, and I appreciate that. All right, but that'll be it for me. Again, live 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till then, take care, stay safe. Last Protagonist out.